Haiti's not hell, but you can just about see it from there. 13 years ago, I traveled on mission to serve and to learn in that dark place, and most people there have kind of a twisted belief system that combines Catholicism with voodooism in such a way that poisons the entire culture. And the resulting spiritual oppression blankets Haiti like a fall mist descending on Forks, Washington, cloaking would-be vampires in so much darkness. I remember feeling overwhelmed at the level of poverty and hopelessness present, well, everywhere. Naked toddlers playing with rocks in the muddy streets, glazed-out eyes of parents who resembled zombies more than people, and the hills raped of their trees sold decades before to enrich the pockets of the corrupt regime at the time. Even something as basic as electricity to light homes and to power ovens, it only flows intermittently, as if the government itself must ration the basics or go under. And I remember trying to sleep in the oppressive heat and humidity of the Caribbean summer evenings, sweating into a mattress that probably contained the dead skin and hair of more than 1,000 people. It was really only a mattress in the academic sense, long ago having given up its ghost to decay into a filthy, soggy, torn piece of fabric with gray stuffing that oozed out of seeping holes whenever the current occupier tried to roll over. My only comfort was a ceiling fan that at the very least pushed the sticky air around the room, giving one the illusion that the climate was actually cooler than what the 90-degree thermometer indicated, until the rationed power for that zone had run its course, and then the motor stopped and the fan slowly wound down. I remember the clicking sound as it swirled above my head, and then the clicks got slower and slower and slower until they stopped altogether. And then nothing. Complete silence in darkness. The only movement was the sweat rolling off my forehead and torso, soaking the nasty sponge on which I lay. I remember crying out, "No!" when the power would end. And that lesson taught me the value of power like no other. And I think every culture the world over craves power more than anything. In Haiti, for example, the people would steal it by waiting for the grid to go out in their sector, and then they would climb the poles and they would tie these wires onto the pole and down to their homes. So in every corner you would see about 30 or 40 of these wires coming down to their homes until the government would send a truck around and they would cut the wires. Well, that would last a couple of days until the people would pick up the fragments, kind of wire them back together and tie them back onto those poles and back to their homes. Incredible. But power that takes on a lot of different forms too, I've noticed. Not just electrical power. I mean, we talk about the power of money and political power, military power, the power of our government, nuclear power. Knowledge is power, and Huey Lewis used to sing about the power of love, right? But here's what I've observed. Not only do we as people seek that power, but once we seek it, we tend to try to hoard it. I mean, think of the rich miser who's not going to part with his hard-earned cash, right? Or politicians who lose their moral compass in order to get reelected to stay in power. Or the popular kid in class who selectively steps on certain people to maintain her power base. Why do we do that? Because power means control. The more money I have, the more control I can have over my environment. The more fame I have, the more I can influence the culture for good or evil. If I win with a landslide victory as a presidential candidate, I'll have more influence to push through my agenda, controlling my country. So we seek out power, and then we hoard power to try to control our environment. And I think it's from the same old lie that Satan told Adam and Eve in the garden. You're not going to die. Eat the apple. You'll just be just like God. And I think in part we crave power because all of us have this desire to be God. But where does it all come from? Where does all this power from anyway? Well, it's the classic Sunday school answer. Is it God? Yes, God created the heavens and the earth. And when you think about the unbelievable power in the universe, and you think that God created this power, I mean, how much more power does he have to create the power that we can see? And make no mistake, there's a lot of power in this universe. Even the smallest particle can blow up a city. Remember the atom bomb? And this universe has tremendous, unimaginable power. But someone even more powerful than we can see created it all. Now imagine if you were God. What would you do with all that power, especially if you were trying to get the attention of the people that you created? How would you use your power? Well, God uses his in a way that is very unusual. In fact, the way he uses it makes people who don't trust in him call him a fool. The Apostle Paul said this, "For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who believe and are being saved, it is the power of God." See, when you think about the cross from a natural perspective, it's very foolish. I mean, Jesus claimed to be God, and if he was God, then he created the whole universe. Why would he then let that power go and allow himself to be brutally murdered and hung on a tree? I mean, that's stupid, right? No, that's power. See, power that is hoarded is ineffective, but power that is poured out has an impact. A politician would have used his power not only to save himself, but to punish his persecutors and destroy them. But the one who created the heavens and the earth, the most powerful universe ever, surrendered that power, pouring it out, and he entrusted himself to his Father in heaven. He didn't destroy his persecutors. He prayed for their forgiveness, even as they drove the nails into his hands and his feet. He was not a power container. He was a power conduit. And by allowing his power to leave him, it enters all who believe in him and it transforms their lives. Now, when one flips on a light switch, power travels through the conduit and it lights up a room. In the same way, when Jesus allowed himself to be a conduit for the power of God, that same power lights up our dark souls. Now, here's the hard thing, though. Jesus asks us, those of us who are followers of him, to be conduits of his power. He says to us, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people take a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven." So guess what? If we put the light under a bowl, we're going to be like the rest of the world that hoards its power. But if we will be conduits and allow God's power to flow through us, that is, if we allow his love and his grace and all that he's giving us, knowledge and money, all of those things to flow through us, we're going to light up the world around us, even if your world resembles Haiti. But just as you have confidence that when you flip a light switch, the light's going to come on, so too you can have confidence in God that when you become a conduit, he will bring about transformation in the lives of those with whom you touch. And also, he'll refill you with all that you need. I mean, when you think about the power that flowed back through Christ on Easter Sunday, imagine the energy required to reignite every cell of his 3-day-old dead body. Now that, my friends, is power.